Hey everybody, welcome to the videos for my first look for week 11 of the NFL season over on Draftkings. So first look, first reaction to the pricing on the week 11 slate. We'll try to build a lineup with the information that we currently have early in the week. And if you do find this video helpful in any way possible, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. If you want to take that one step further, become an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. Optimizers, cheat sheets, ownership projections, Discord community, all that fun stuff for the sports that are currently going on, including the NBA and the NFL. Then MLB and NASCAR once those seasons start back up again rather soon. And last but not least, this video is sponsored by PrizePicks. I'm sure you know what it is by now, but if you don't, it's daily fantasy sports simplified, just you versus the projections. There's no sharks, 150 mass contests or salary cap restrictions or anything like that. Just you versus the props they offer each and every single day. And as of right now, for you new signing over on PrizePicks, you can get a free money bonus as an instant deposit match up to $100 when you use code CPEN and tell them I sent you. But I think that'll be it for the plugs for the most part, so without further ado, let's dive into today's video. And as always, we'll start with the quarterback position. And as I always say, there's a lot of ways we can go this weekend. Although for me, I think I'm going to have a smaller QB pool just because I'm fairly confident in one game just getting fireworks. I really want exposure to one of those two quarterbacks in said game. But up top, we have a familiar face, Josh Allen, typically the most expensive quarterback every single week. And I think it's deserved. The guy's been one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in football this season. He has had a couple of bad games, but really, what quarterback hasn't had a couple of bad games so far this season? This is going to be a really tight MVP race because every single guy that you think is going to be the favorite to win, like Matthew Stafford, well, they have a clunker 2 games. Then Tom Brady, he loses versus Washington. So really, it's really just an open race at this point. I'm going to definitely be interested to see how that plays out as the season progresses. But Josh Allen versus Indy, poor pass defense that you can definitely play him if you want to stack him up with Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, or maybe even Dawson Knox. Go for it, but I feel like he's a better tournament play rather than cash play. Lamar Jackson saw his price get beefed up a little bit. He's typically been in that like lower to mid 7K range. Now $8,000 versus the Bears. Probably a spot I'm not going to be too heavy on. Kyler Murray, even if he is healthy, probably won't have too much interest there versus Seattle. But really, I think the two quarterbacks you're picking from this weekend is either going to be Patrick Mahomes or Dak Prescott. This is definitely the game of the week. 56-point over-under currently, 2-point spread. Loads of good offensive pieces. You have Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. You got Dak Prescott, Zeke, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz. Like, there is no shortage of good plays in this game. Both defenses aren't that great. Both offenses can definitely score 30-plus points each and every single weekend. The Chiefs finally got back on track Sunday night versus the Las Vegas Raiders, scored over 40 points. Patrick Mahomes, 4 or 5 touchdowns, over 400 passing yards. Definitely looked like the old Mahomes where he's not turning the ball over and looking terrible. So I am definitely looking forward to this game. And if you are doing well after the 1 p.m. games end, keep in mind this game starts at 4:25, so do not count your monies yet because there's going to be a lot of high-owned players in this game, and rightfully so, because it's definitely a great spot. If I had to pick between the two, I mean, obviously I love both. These are the two best quarterbacks on the slate. I think they should probably both be around $8,000. Like, there's no reason these guys shouldn't be the most expensive. Dak Prescott's been great this year. Patrick Mahomes, while he has had a couple of bad games, he still puts up big fantasy scores most outings. But Dak Prescott, for me, at $7,200 just seems way too cheap. The KC defense, Swiss cheese, I mean, they've just been terrible this season. And outside of, like, maybe one game versus the Chargers where he had 8 fantasy points, Dak Prescott's been great for fantasy purposes. The thing is, if you use Dak, he really can't get there by himself, so you're going to want a pass-catching option with him. Because, like, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, I mean, maybe not as much Josh Allen, but Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, I should say, they can get there by themselves just because of the rushing floor. Dak Prescott doesn't really run the football, like 5, 16, 10, 6, 35 yards. Like, we need a pass catcher with them, so we're going to plug in Dak. I think he's the best quarterback play on the entire slate. More than likely will be the highest owned quarterback once again. Was chalk last week. Should be chalk once again. So if we are going to play Dak, we do need a pass catching option with them. So I go right over specifically to Dallas. We have a couple of options. Not going to look at running backs, but we have CeeDee Lamb, $7,600. Is a bit pricey, but he's definitely the wide receiver one in that offense. Then you have Amari Cooper at $6,200, Michael Gallup at $4,200. And as far as the tight ends go, you have Dalton Schultz at $4,600 and Blake Jarwin's on the IR, so it's basically just Dalton Schultz. For me, I would like to play CeeDee Lamb, but I do want to mention I want a run back option with this stack. And for me, that's either going to be Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, and they're very expensive. So if I use CeeDee Lamb, that means I have to use like another 8K Tyreek Hill. We're running out of money fast. So for me, I might go back to the Amari Cooper well. I know it's not a well that's providing much fantasy points right now, but I don't mind. He is cheap. I keep saying he's cheap, and he keeps busting for me. But we're going to go back to him once again, $6,200. Just going to cross my fingers and toes. He actually has a productive game. I do want to say it was a blowout, so it did hurt the passing attack at the end of the game. including Amari Cooper, but he was open in the end zone. Dak Prescott's looking right at him. Dak Prescott runs the ball in. Like, just throw it to Amari Cooper. I needed those points. But I do like Cooper quite a bit, so we're just going to plug him in just because of the price point. And since I want a run back option for the Chiefs, we have Tyreek Hill, $8,200. You have Travis Kelce at $7,100. I typically like to go cheap at tight end, so as much as I like Travis Kelce, probably not going to make the cut here. So we're just going to play Tyreek Hill. Yes, I know Javon Diggs will be on him, but I don't care because Dallas gets killed by wide receivers so far this season, and Tyreek Hill is unguardable. I don't care who he's being guarded against. I don't really believe in wide receiver versus cornerback matchups. I mean, yeah, if they're playing a really bad corner, it's a boost. And if they're playing a super good corner, I mean, it's somewhat of a downgrade. But good offenses and good players and good quarterbacks can get their best players the ball. Like, Tyreek Hill is not going to get shut out in this game. He's getting peppered with targets the past month. 12, 9, 18, 11, 10 targets. Like, no reason to believe Tyreek Hill can have a blow-up game versus a pretty bad Dallas secondary outside of, I guess, Javon Diggs for the most part. Yes, I know he gets interceptions, but there's still a lot of yards being thrown on the Dallas secondary. So Tyreek Hill, like him as a nice piece to this run back with our Dallas stack. And at that point, we have around $4,800 left for the rest of the lineup. So we're going to have to look at some running backs. We're probably going to have to save some money here because we already have Tyreek Hill, a decently priced quarterback, and Amari Cooper. While he is cheap considered the other options in that game, he's still above $6,000. And if we plugged in CMC, which is as much as I'd like to, that's going to leave us less than $4,000 there for the rest of our lineup, which is possible, but probably not the most optimal way to go. But CMC, speaking about him, gets a good matchup here versus Washington. Don't really care who the quarterback is. We know they're going to get him the ball. And a great game versus Arizona. 13 carries, 95 yards. I believe he had a touchdown called back. Caught all 10 of his targets, 66 yards, nearly 30 Draftkings points. Just missed his bonus, and like I said, had that touchdown called back. If you have the money for CMC, go for it. He's cheap. He's going to continue to get, 15, 20 carries a game and get close to 10 targets. It's just hard not to like him below $9,000, especially in a good matchup versus the Washington football team. Jonathan Taylor has been an absolute tear. Tough matchup versus Buffalo. Not quite the soft matchups he's had the past month now. Like, if we're just looking at the matchups for Taylor, he's faced Jacksonville, New York, Tennessee, San Francisco. I mean, they haven't been that great versus around this year, but then Houston, like the good matchups just are so abundant. Now you get a tough matchup versus the Bills, but I think Taylor, as good as he is, will be fine. Dalvin Cook gets a good matchup on the ground versus Green Bay. We're not sure if Kamara's going to play. Nick Chubb is activated. He's facing Detroit, one of the worst run defenses in football. Cleveland is close to double-digit favorites at home. He doesn't really catch the ball, which at $8,000 kind of sucks, but I think he's definitely in play for tournaments. If I didn't have the passing attack, I'd want to play Zeke because I want some exposure to Dallas. So in the lineups that you don't have Dak, Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, I'd probably try to get some Elliott in just because you want some exposure to the Dallas Cowboys. Makes him more of a tournament play. DeAndre Swift had a career high 33 carries last week. No Jamal Williams. And he also had 6 targets. That's 39 total opportunities. That's Derrick Henry kind of volume. Not that we can expect that every week. Weather wasn't that great in Pittsburgh, so that might have something to do with it. But facing Cleveland, with them being big dogs, maybe he doesn't get 30-plus carries, but he should see an abundance of targets, which is just fine for me. So DeAndre Swift definitely in my player pool at running back. We know Aaron Jones is going to be out for this game, 1 to 2 weeks, I believe they said is the injury designation. So A.J. Dillon, $6,200. I know they kind of priced up a little bit compared to normal, but that still doesn't seem as expensive as he should be. Like, A.J. Dillon's a good running back. He's on a good team, and he's the RB1. Going to get pretty much all the touches here. Had 21 carries, 2 targets versus Seattle. Nearly 27 DraftKings points. He's going to get goal line carries. A.J. Dillon's a big back. He's a bruising back. And I think at $6,200, I don't mind that. We should get around 15, 20 total touches from A.J. Dillon. Good matchup versus Minnesota. I think he is firmly in play here, so we're going to plug him in at $6,200. We need some value mid-range running backs, and he definitely fits the bill there. List continues here. Chase Edmonds on IR. James Conner gets a good matchup versus Seattle. I personally just don't like James Conner, but he just keeps scoring touchdowns, so I think he has to be on our radar. Like, I don't know what it is. 1, 2, 2, 1 touchdown the past month now. And he's been using the passing game, too. 5 and 4 targets the past couple of weeks. 40, 15 DraftKings points. Like, he's fine. $6,100, good matchup versus Seattle. They've been terrible versus the run this year. If you want to play James Conner, by all means, go for it. I think he's firmly in play. But I actually like these 2 running backs quite a bit. We have Michael Carter versus Miami. They've been terrible versus the run this year. And he's going to get you around maybe 15 carries, 10 to 15 carries. And we know he's going to get like 5 to 10 targets, which is fantastic volume for a guy below 6K and a great matchup. It's never fun playing a New York Jet, but Michael Carter at that price point seems like he can be a good play. But Eli Mitchell might be the guy we plug in here. $5,100. He had 27 carries on Monday night versus the Rams. It was a good game script, but I could see another good game script here versus Jacksonville. They're 7.5-point favorites. Didn't really do much fantasy-wise, but still had 91 yards, but he didn't get any targets. But if he's going to get us 20-plus carries, I mean, if he finds the end zone, that's not a bad play, $5,800. I'm not sure if I want to plug him in just because I do like James Conner, I like Eli Mitchell, I like Michael Carter, so it's kind of tough to pick between the three here. You also have David Montgomery versus Baltimore. He's only $5,500. Mark Ingram, if Alvin Kamara happens to be out, he was actually using the passing game quite a bit. Not that I really expected that, but it was nice to see, especially if you happen to roster Mark Ingram. But for right now, let's just plug in Eli Mitchell. That's interchangeable. If we have money for Connor, we can move up to him. If we just want to switch to Michael Carter, sure, that's totally fine. I have no problem with that. So at this point, we have $4,100 left. I would like to try to get another mid-range wide receiver. I'm not sure how easy that's going to be because I do think there's some pretty good spots here. If you are spending up and you don't want to use a Tyreek Hill this weekend, I only have him in here because it's really kind of a stack. I don't think you have to play Tyreek. You have CeeDee Lamb, obviously, but I already have Amari Cooper. Terry McLaurin versus Carolina. It's interesting because of the price point, but I don't know. I don't really want to pick on Carolina too much. But Deebo Samuel, $7,800 versus Jacksonville. They're terrible versus the pass. I think Deebo is firmly in place. Stephon Diggs, if you have Josh Allen. Devontae Adams is only $8,400 versus Minnesota. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of missing some of these boom games from Devontae Adams. Had that huge game versus Cincy, but ever since then, feels like he's been a bit quiet. But it's definitely a good matchup versus Minnesota. They don't really have anybody at all that can guard Adams, so I could definitely see him being a very strong play. Not sure what his ownership's going to look like, but I would probably rather play Adams over Tyreek Hill in cash, although that is probably quite close. I'll have to see what projections say. But scrolling down here, because I know we can't afford any of those guys, probably looking in this like Brandon Cooks, Michael Pittman, Hunter Renfrow kind of range. You also have Jalen Waddle versus the Jets. T. Higgins is always interesting. Facing the Raiders, I wouldn't say it's a soft matchup, but his price tag is always inviting. Corey Davis at $5,000 facing Miami. They've been terrible versus the pass this year. It's not, like I said with Carter, it's never fun playing Jets players, but he gets consistent targets every single week, and the guy's not a bad player. So I think at $5,000, Corey Davis would certainly be interesting. But I really like Brandon Cooks here at $6,000 facing Tennessee. We know Houston more than likely is going to be trailing this game. He's got Tyrod Taylor back, which wasn't amazing for him the last game versus Miami. Had 14 targets, though, but only caught 6 of them for 11.6 fantasy points. But if they can connect on those targets, Tennessee is currently giving up the most points per game to the wide receiver position. Brandon Cooks, over a 30+% target share in this offense, large market share of the team's air yards. I'm going to try to fit him in. It might be tough, but I do like Brandon Cooks a lot. But at this point, we need to start finding some value. And at defense, I know we can usually just plug in a cheap defense here. What I typically do is just scroll all the way down, and I pick the first defense that I don't think is going to get absolutely throttled. The Texans versus Tennessee. No, thank you. Lions versus Cleveland, maybe. We know Baker Mayfield's banged up. If Nick Chubb happened to be out again, I don't really think that'll be the case. But if he happened to be, I mean, at $2,100, that's not bad. I have to see what the weather looks like in Cleveland this weekend. Not playing the Chiefs, not playing the Vikings versus the Packers. No thank you on the Jaguars. Jets versus Miami, maybe. I could see that somewhat working out. Washington football team, they lost Chase Young, but they're facing more than likely Cam Newton. Looks like he's going to be the starter this weekend. Not that I hate Cam, but I don't think Cam's going to put up like 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Maybe CMC does, but they could probably plug in Washington. I mean, they stiffed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week, which is one of the toughest tasks you can ask for. So we'll try Washington for right now. That leaves us $4,000 left. We could plug in a cheap tight end. The problem is Dan Arnold. I want to play Dan Arnold. Guy's just been like a free square the past few weeks, but at $4,100, they're starting to price him up a little bit. Tyler Conklin looks interesting. He scored 2 touchdowns last week. CJ Uzama, $3,500. I'm not sure how I'm going to put in the flex. I don't think we can afford like a 6K guy. Because if I try to plug in like a Corey Davis, I know that's one guy I was pretty interested in. That's going to leave us $3,000 left. That's just not going to work, I don't think. Unless you want to play one of these absolute scrub tight ends. Like Jack Doyle, do you really want to play Jack Doyle? David Njoku. You know, the Browns spread it out so much, but David Njoku is somewhat interesting. We know he's an athletic tight end, but the targets are just so low. But he is a cheap tight end. Based in Detroit. If he had 8.8 points, you'd be happy with that. But he's probably have to find the end zone. But maybe we can't quite afford Corey Davis. We might have to take out Brandon Cooks and replace him with Corey Davis. That could certainly be an option. Because if you happen to go that route, that should leave us enough room for a somewhat solid tight end. Yeah, $4,500 left for the last 2 spots for tight end. Maybe if we plug in, I don't know, Tyler Conklin. Leaves you $5,100 left. Well, we'd probably be able to afford Dan Arnold at that point because we could just throw in Michael Gallup to get another pass catching option with Dak Prescott. Go with the double stack there. So if we do that, plug in Gallup, we plug in a different tight end, we could go up to $4,800 left. That's more than enough money for Dan Arnold. You have money for Zach Ertz, Dalton Schultz. If you're going to go with a triple stack, you got Dan Arnold there. So a couple ways you can go this weekend, but I don't think this is a bad looking build. You got Dak Prescott paired with Amari Cooper, ran back with Tyreek Hill. You also have Michael Gallup in the flex spot as another pairing option. Dak Prescott, you got two good solid mid-range running backs here in A.J. Dillon, Eli Mitchell. Also, though, like I said, if we happen to go with Dan Arnold here, we could probably upgrade Eli Mitchell. I'm not sure if it is an upgrade, but you could move that up to a guy like James Conner. That's not too bad looking, but one of those mid-range running backs definitely looks good in the RB2 slot. And you got Corey Davis or Brandon Cooks, Dan Arnold or one of the tight ends in the Washington football team defense. I don't think that's a bad looking shell build for very early on in the week. Link is down below in the description for that. Spreadsheets, cheat sheets, optimizers, ownership projections, all that fun stuff can be found down below for the NFL and the NBA. Then MLB and NASCAR once those seasons start back up again. And don't forget, this video was sponsored by Prize Picks, just you versus the projections. And as of right now, if you're new sign over there, you can get a free money bonus, do $100 and use code CPEN and tell them I sent you. But that'll be it. I'll stop rambling. I'll see you guys on Thursday for the next video.